So we have Predictive Cyber Threat Intelligence, anticipating tomorrow's attacks today. So to speak on this session, may I invite on stage Kevin Lobo, Regional Manager, Meta, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa, Cyble Inc. With your huge round of applause, everybody. Come on, give it up for Kevin Lobo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Lobo. I am the Regional Manager for the Meta region at Cyble. There are a lot of familiar faces that I've seen, maybe not in person, but online, like Jordan, Irene, Dr. Sorry, the name blanks me right now, but you know what I mean. Yeah, we've seen you all, we've seen your awards. Thank you very much for coming here today. For a lot of people that I'm seeing for the first time, we actually have something in common. I know we've just met, maybe you don't even know me, but we have something in common. Any guesses? No? Okay. Most of you don't know what I'm going to present, and neither do I. Yeah? So that's something we have in common. We're going to learn together. That was a fail of a joke. Anyway, the topic that I'm going to be speaking on today is anticipating tomorrow's attacks. Yeah? So it's basically predictive CTI, or cyber threat intelligence. So the first question is, what is PCTI, or what is predictive cyber threat intelligence? Yeah, just in the interest of time, I'm going to ask the question and I'm going to answer it myself. So what is PCTI? Why does it matter? Once we cover that, I'll just go through the agenda so everyone knows what I'm going to be speaking about. I have 15 slides and 17.5 minutes to present them. Once I go through what is PCTI and why does it matter, I will go through what the life cycle is of a PCTI solution or in an organization, the threat intelligence, followed by a few case studies, just four for everybody. I've tried to keep it generic to cater to everyone in the audience. And I'm going to end my slide with the advantages of these solutions or technologies. And lastly, what are the best practices for implementing them within your organization or in general, just for reference. Yeah. So starting off, what is PCTI? PCTI, or Predictive Cyber Threat Intelligence, is typically a predictive or a proactive approach to existing threat intelligence platforms that uses advanced techniques. Now, what kind of advanced techniques? We're using machine learning algorithms as well as behavioral analytics. By using this, we're able to a certain degree of certainty, we're able to predict any attack that could happen to an organization. So think of something in the future. I usually present this bit with a deck of cards because I like magic tricks. Unfortunately, I do not have them. But I can predict what card you're going to pick. It's very simple. Maybe meet me after the event and I'll try to show this to you. So that is predictive CTI. I believe there are no questions. So PCTI is basically a preventive, proactive, or a predictive approach to cybersecurity. Now why does it matter? Fine, now we know what PCTI is, but why does it matter? Currently, most cybersecurity solutions are reactive in nature. I hope you agree. Or at least that we use within our organizations are reactive in nature. Wouldn't it be nice to have a solution that could predict a cyber threat or a breach or an attack that could happen to your organization, impact, as Jordan was saying and as the panelists were saying, the reputation of your organization, as well as, I would say, mitigate any financial losses. So that's why a PCTI comes in. That's number one, a proactive defense approach. Secondly, with the information provided by a PCTI solution, it enhances your situational awareness because a PCTI solution is constantly monitoring and analyzing various global threat vectors. The information that is consolidated and gathered with the PCTI provides enhanced situational awareness, so you know how to react, and, as the fourth point states, mitigate or reduce any risk to your organization. But let me now jump the third point. With predictive threat intelligence or with advanced information, you are able to make better decisions where to allocate resources, what budget to allocate for security, as well as what is your incident response and recovery methodology. So all of these are actually interconnected. It's a loop. It's a constant loop. Like everyone this morning has been saying, even during the panel discussions, we keep talking about cybersecurity. And as the gentleman said, we all can prevent it just by being extra vigilant. And last point about what is PCTI and why does it matter is an enhanced incident recovery and response plan of action, because you have the intelligence before anything could happen. Okay. Uh, to throw in some infographics, right? Because text-heavy slides are very boring and you lose people. So this is an incident from our own company's threat report that was extracted at the end of 2023. So just a little over 4.5 months old. As we can see from this slide, the maximum number of cybersecurity events last year took place in Asia. Any guesses for which country in Asia? 5, 4, 3. I'll tell you the answer. It was actually in India, where I come from. I can't believe it too. I don't know why India as a country was targeted most last year, but the most targeted or the most cybersecurity incidents that were reported, we reported 7,219 incidents last year. I memorized that number. Most of them came from India. The second region globally was North America. No guesses. It was the USA, not Canada as much. Followed by, I would say, Europe and UK in the third spot. South America and Meta in the, sharing the fourth spot. And lastly, ANZ, Australia and New Zealand. So these were the regions that were most impacted. Does anybody want to take a guess of what was the largest type of attack or cyber incident from 2023? Yes. Oh, no, I'm kidding. You're right. So actually, we all heard about ransomware. This report I extracted from our dashboard from the 1st of Jan until the 22nd of May yesterday. This is the global perspective, and it's only right to have a Meta, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa perspective as well. I see some ladies over there not being happy about South Africa being number one. But yes, 13 incidents compared to North America or the US, where over 880 incidents have already been publicly documented. Shameful and embarrassing, but true. Okay. This slide is going to be a little bit data heavy, so I'm going to try to speed through it. In case nobody understands, please just, hey, and I will go back or I will stop. So there are effectively 6 stages. I'm going to start with the top left and go clockwise. So any organization or a technology solution provider, a vendor, anyone in the space in cybersecurity has to primarily start with planning. You have to have direction, you have to have a discussion in order to know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what it's going to take to get that done. So step 1, direction and planning, yeah? And it ends at feedback, by the way. The entire loop ends at feedback. Now, the reason I went a little away from where I had intended to start is just to let you know that many of these processes are automated now. So you don't have to rely on any manual efforts or manual intervention. But let me not skip ahead. So step 1 in the life cycle for any PCTI vendor or any organization that is looking at implementing PCTI is starting with planning. Next, once you have your planning and direction, you start with collecting a lot of data. Yeah, as I don't remember who it was, but someone on the panel said data is the new currency. I don't think anyone's debating that, right? It's no longer oil. Data. You have the data, and I'll show you a use case of how data has been used to manipulate a lot of outcomes in people's favor. You're basically playing God with data. Scary, but yeah, can't address it. So you start by collecting information. Where do you collect information? From every internal and external source. So any company that is looking for it or a solution, you're collecting data internally and externally from everything from the surface, deep, dark web, including social media channels and every other possible attack vector. Now, once you collect a lot of this information, it's all raw up to this point. So the second step in the life cycle, or technically the third step, but the second step in the life cycle would be processing the raw data in order to make it usable. Or basically it's structuring, filtering, and categorizing the data into different metrics in order to understand what data you have collected. This step is very important because once the data is processed, it goes into the analysis stage. And this is the stage where patterns are found out, motives, threats, I would say impacts. Everything is done in the analysis stage. Once the collection, processing, and analysis, which is the major workload or the brunt of the operational cycle, all that information and data from in an organization or from a service provider or a cybersecurity company goes into dissemination. Dissemination is basically taking that data, the rich analyze, structure data, and making use of it. What are you going to do with that information? And finally, with that information, you go into the feedback. So now you have the information, you have context with that information. What are you going to do with that data, and how are you going to go in the loop? So this is effectively the 6 stages of the life cycle. Any questions? I have to hold this really close. Okay. So yeah, as the lady introduced, and as most of you are aware, I am from Cyble. Cyble as a company, we have multiple different product lines and solutions. I would say the flagship or the primary is Cyble Vision, which has these 5 modules that are listed here. I think they're quite legible, so everyone can read them. So primarily focusing, so I'll just quickly go through them. We have cybercrime, dark web and cybercrime monitoring, threat intelligence, CTI. The third one is attack surface management, external attack surface, so ASM, brand protection, and lastly, third parties risk scoring. Now this is for our enterprise customers, could be anybody, could be from oil and gas, BFSI, healthcare, etc. Cyble Hawk is our second flagship, or actually, this is Cyble Vision on steroids. So this solution is primarily for law enforcement agencies. Think of government bodies, NSAs, probably the government defense sector as well. So it takes all of these modules and it adds an extra layer in terms of protecting national critical infrastructure as well as POIs, persons of interest. So in case a government wants to monitor somebody just by their name, their number, their email address. We've all seen these sci-fi shows on TV. So just key in their name, or if you have a picture, upload that picture and you can track their movement as it goes. Sort of sci-fi, but yeah, really cool. If anyone's interested, I don't think we're doing a demo here today, but if anyone's interested, we'd like to show you what that is all about. As well as cryptocurrency wallet mapping. So this is something that is relatively new. This is a feature that a lot of players are trying to get into the space of, but it's I would say, with minimal success. Yeah, so we're trying to enhance what we've already done. And the last module that we're planning on adding by the end of this year to the Cyble Hawk is Falcon GPT, which is our own AI assistant, so chatbot. So you could just ask something, like you have a query. You don't really have to go and navigate through the entire dashboard. You just key it in, and it'll be presented to you in infographic format. Okay. I have 7 more minutes. The advantages of implementing PCTI. So I memorized this with the acronyms VCAR. So number 1 is visibility. You're getting the visibility from multiple different sources. Again, I'm talking about the technology here. I am not talking about an organization. A technology or a PCTI technology, for example, let's say Cyble. What are the advantages of implementing a solution like Cyble or any PCTI solution within your infrastructure? Number 1 is to get visibility, because if you can't see it, you can't do anything without it. Second stage is context, or second advantage, I would say, sorry. Second advantage is providing context. Once you have the visibility of different threat actors, vectors, global perspective of threats, what are you going to do with that? You need context with that information, otherwise it's irrelevant. So a PCTI solution provides context around that data. So what is your organization vulnerable to? How could somebody get in? What damage they could do? And what is the impact of to your organization? The third is automated detection. Nobody, literally nobody wants to do anything above their KPI or above what they should do. They're looking for tools with automated responses or automated steps. So the other advantage of PCTI is having automated response and detection, and also providing alerts. And lastly, this is primarily for everybody in the risk division here, because I know there are quite a few. They're not core cybersecurity, but they are from cybersecurity risk. A PCTI solution has to mitigate risk. All right. So these are the advantages of any PCTI solution. Yes, I'm going to quickly jump into 4 of my use cases. If anybody is from any of these departments here, I apologize in case I touch a sensitive nerve. I'm going to start with financial institution because we have a lot of them here in the UAE. So these are all our use cases. We have actually solved them for customers in multiple different regions. Obviously, for NDA purposes, we do not reveal anyone's name. But you can meet me outside for coffee and I'll give you enough hints. A large financial institution employed PCTI to combat phishing attacks. Yeah, we're all aware of ransomware and phishing attacks. How are these solutions able to predict? So the problem statement is actually just the whole line up ahead, but I'll just focus on the outcome. So using predictive cyber threat intelligence models, they were able to devise various scenarios and recognize email patterns, suspicious entry points, and also a lot of proactive filters were enabled in order to block any attempts for phishing attacks to both employees and customers. Oh yeah, having said that, I'm guessing a lot of people here in this room live and work in the UAE. Yes, just show of hands. Yes, everyone from UAE. Yes. Has anybody not yet received a call from Emirates NBD scam artist? We've all seen those videos on Instagram and TikTok, right? Has anybody not received a video, a call or an email from Emirates NBD, a fake email or fake call? No? Everybody has received them then. Yeah. Am I correct? Yes? Brilliant. So I hope, I'm not saying that's our customer, I'm saying I hope whichever bank has used the technology, implements it efficiently, will stop this from the future. Yes, this is my personal favorite, yeah, because a lot of this has been going on in the recent past, in the past 2 or 3 years, starting with, I think, Trump. So we're looking at a lot of disinformation, and I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't get the word, but so basically, a lot of sophisticated cyber threat attacks are now are going around government security, national level security, because without our knowledge, we are being influenced in order to vote, think, and behave in a particular way, and select somebody in power to run the country. So in this use case, PCTI was actually used to safeguard national election process. Yeah, I can tell you this was done in the continent of Africa. I can't tell you the country, but it was done in the continent of Africa. There was a lot of disinformation campaigns that was being promoted over social media, phishing links, even actually VIP executives, you know, fake profiles preferring one party over the other. So this was becoming a huge problem. The Electoral Commission of that country was looking at multiple different effective ways of mitigating this, and they stumbled upon PCTI solutions. So the outcome here was we actually helped conduct a fair election in a country, or PCTI was one of the solutions that helped conduct fair elections. The airport security. Yes, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Every organization, especially in aviation industry with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of visitors on an annual basis, has a lot of, I would say, critical infrastructure to protect. The problem over here was, I think they were looking at, they were looking at unauthorized access to their systems in order to gain access or entry. So using PCTI solutions, again, they developed multiple different tracking points, enabling them to, I would say, yes, so they were able to increase the surveillance and targeted security within the aviation industry, ensuring a seamless infrastructure and passenger safety experience. Yes, and the last one. Anybody here in this room from the healthcare or the not hospitality, from the healthcare sector? Yeah, this is usually the sector that is most overlooked in cybersecurity. I think there is somebody, you're smiling. I don't know if you know somebody from healthcare. So, in the healthcare industry, sensitive information belongs to the patient. Yeah, if you are able to gather that information and encrypt it so that the people that need to use it cannot use it, you're looking at death as a result. Not a financial loss, not a reputational loss. You're looking at death. So it becomes very critical in the healthcare sector. I would urge healthcare sector to look at cybersecurity more effectively. But yeah, that's a daunting task and something we're all working on. So a large healthcare, and actually in North America, used PCTI solutions or Cyble in order to detect multiple ransomware attempts that were being used to encrypt their patient data. They were also able to preemptively take a lot of action based on this, and that's our last use case of the day. Oh, that brings me to my last slide as well, and I have 4 seconds. 3, 2. Okay, so the best practices, I'm just going to categorize them under these 4 points. any PCTI solution or any organization looking at employing or implementing PCTI solutions must consider only these 4 points for now. Continuous monitoring and analysis. So basically, any PCTI tool has to be active 24/7, scanning the complete surface, deep and dark web in order to provide context-rich information, obviously with analysis. The second point is nobody wants to buy a solution or implement a solution that does not integrate with their existing infrastructure and investments. So a good PCTI solution must be able to integrate with any organization's existing security infrastructure. Third, this is important for the risk team. Again, this is not so much cybersecurity, but please, any organization that is looking for proactive solutions definitely must quantify their risk score or the risk profile and adopt a proactive risk-based approach. Lastly, yes, technology is changing, solutions are changing. Always look at solutions that are agile and able to scale and adapt to every business requirement. And that's all, folks. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.